What's going on, y'all? This is the Nightcap for Vernon Speak Sports Auburn. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast talking to Auburn football. Go ahead and like the video. Or, I mean, you ain't got to like it. You haven't heard it yet, so you can't like it. You can do whatever you want to, though. But we need some engagement, though. Comments, definitely welcome. First game of the year, Auburn taking on Akron. Oh, man. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. We're over 4,500 now. Definitely appreciate all of the support. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. So, Nightcap, I don't know what you guys are drinking on tonight. I know there are a lot of tailgaters out there in the Auburn area. They got their RVs, they got their kegs out there. And it's a lot of excitement because, for one, now you can actually kind of halfway enjoy football without the restrictions that were on last year. You know, folks are tailgating, folks are really getting it in right now. And hell, I wish I could be there. I remember back, I was at Auburn between 1999 and the latter portion of 2003. And on a game like that's happening tomorrow, especially a late night game, you know, I played for fraternity. I played Kappa Alpha Psi, Theta Delta Chapter, Throwdown, Auburn. And parties, for example, we would always know what the schedule is. We look at the schedule, see what time the games were. So tonight would have been the night that we would have had a party. Because a 7 o'clock party, a party on a game that starts at 7 o'clock is a little iffy. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of tailgating that goes on throughout the day. And you already kind of jacked up off of that. And then you got all this energy that's got to be conserved, especially for an SEC game, 7 o'clock at night. You don't know how long that thing is going to go on because you got the TV timeouts, and don't let this thing go into overtime. Next thing you know, if you did have a party schedule, it ain't starting until maybe 11. So Friday nights is usually the best nights to have your kickbacks or your parties, you know, during that particular time. Definitely missed that time. Really enjoyed my tenure as a college student. Also as a, what we call, in the Kappa Alpha Psi world, what we call a Noop at Auburn. It was a very enjoyable time. And nights like tonight really make me reminisce on those particular situations. Because we had this little spot where right across the street from Red Lobster on Opelika Road, it was called Denver Steakhouse. And when I tell you, you know, we rented that thing out. And see, the deal that we cut was the owner was like, okay, you bring the crowd, I take the whole bar, you take everything else. And I know he made a killing at the bar. I mean, I'm talking about folks in droves hanging out at the bar. This is a typical Auburn Friday night, hanging out with the Kappas at Denver Steakhouse. Big shout out to the Theta Delta chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi, my home chapter. Definitely missed those times. Some great memories, great learning experience, all that other stuff. We get into, now we're at the Nightcap tonight. First one of the year, maybe, I think. As we get into the season, we're going to talk about a little something. Now, I'm going to do the game day keys to victory. Of course, we're not necessarily pondering on whether Auburn will win the game or not, but it's more so of the what, why, how, and by what means Auburn wins the game tomorrow. So that's the biggest thing there. But what I want to talk about tonight is my favorite part of the football field, or my favorite part of the game of football is defense. Now, word on the streets, you look at all of a lot of the Auburn content creators, whether they be supported by AL.com, whether I know Lawrence Sisler and Cole Kubilic, they actually expected Akron to score. But for the most part, people are expecting a shutout here. And I'm expecting one. I think Derek Mason wants to make his mark in this game, and I think he wants to set the tone with his team that he's really serious about defense. Akron is a football team that they're not that good. As well-meaning as they may be, they're just not that good. And in the big games like this, when they play or when they compete against Power 5 football teams, it's a no call, no show. I'm thinking with the talent, the diverse talent that Auburn has, they have an opportunity to start this season off, especially if they're focused on doing this, as Brian Harsin has preached since he's been there. Focus, determination, approaching the game with a high level of being intentional about what you do. Having good weeks of practice, making sure that you focus on every opponent. Because as a matter of fact, I was looking, had a chance to check out his presser, and I like the fact that he kind of broke down, even though Akron is a team that he probably don't even have the game plan for and win. But, broke down the team, talked about some of the transfers that they had coming in. I don't remember if he mentioned the head coach, but the head coach has had a certain level of success, which I think overall, it may not happen for him at Akron, which I just don't think it will, because I think he's at a tough spot. But he has the mentality. He's been successful in Division II level, and the coach at Akron really has an opportunity to be successful long term if he sticks it out. Akron is going to be that school where it's just going to be kind of like Derek Mason at Vanderbilt, to where no matter how hard you try, and I know Derek Mason put all levels of intensity in his time at Vanderbilt, but you just don't have the consistent resources to win on a high level year in and year out. You might do what Akron did, say, I think in 2017, and have a 7-7 year and weasel your way into a bowl game. But that's just not something that's sustainable because the talent doesn't overlap. I told you guys before, the reason why SEC teams are very successful is because the talent overlaps. You have a non-ranked recruiting class, 5, 1, 3. You don't go below, say, 10 or 12. You have the sustainability to where you can compete for the most part year in and year out. That's just not a reality at an Akron. So Akron comes into Auburn, I think they're going to be intense. I think they're going to give it their best shot. But Auburn is, compared to Akron, is loaded. Because let's just say, for example, Akron got blown out by a Western Michigan team. Western Michigan is a team that, for the most part, will probably be a homecoming team or a team that, nobody pays attention to. A 12 o'clock game at the University of Alabama. Homecoming at LSU. The game right before Alabama for Auburn. That kind of team blows Akron out. That's what you're up against. That's what's going on tomorrow when the Auburn Tigers take on Akron. They're getting blown out by the teams that Auburn will play for homecoming. That's what you got to look at. And I think about this defense. I think about the defensive line. You talk about Tony Fair. You talk about, Kobe Wooten and all of those guys who want. These guys are ready to get on the field and compete. I think this defense, we talk about Bo Nix. Yeah, he's got a lot to prove, right? Tank Bigsby want to live up to the bill. But I think this defense is the squad that's going to be on the spot. Because they got a lot to fix too. Their third down issues, getting teams off the field on third down. 3rd down and 6, Akron, they got to zero in. And they got to get these guys off the field. Because there have been in times past where even teams like Akron have been able to move the ball against Auburn at certain points. Didn't get to see that last year because it was an all SEC schedule. But, you're an Auburn fan. You look at these games where you feel like, okay, Auburn needs to just straight blow these guys out. But they keep letting these guys hang around. 3rd and 14, they convert. Their quarterback has the most success that they have the whole year. You don't want to see that tomorrow. The defense is on the spot. And I want to see if the defense can be solid, if the defense can get Akron off the field on third downs, can create very unfavorable positions for Akron. And another thing I want to see, something that will really help Auburn equalize, say, the talent level down the stretch, they got to figure out some takeaways, because we know penalties and takeaways are the big neutralizers when you talk about a college football game, especially some of the high energy, high intensity football games that Auburn are going to play down the stretch. All right, guys, you know, and gals, I need some more women on here, because my percentage of women viewers have gone down. I don't know what y'all got going on, but I need y'all to come back and watch the dang videos. Like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.